Are we live? Okay, I think we're official. I think it's official. Do you see us for redefining entrepreneurship? I am just double checking. If you see us, if you hear us, go ahead and let us know. And maybe I should let someone else talk who has reception. Okay, there we go. We've been having a laugh over here today, everybody. I just have to share. Which leads us to our fabulous topic today. Okay, get serious here for a second. So, redefining entrepreneurship. What we're talking about today, leading with power, what it takes to be a seven-figure leader. And I just want to preface by saying, maybe I guess I could introduce all of us. So, I'm Lori. This is Jamie. That's Mara. And we were just talking about this topic, specifically leading with power, what it takes to be a seven-figure leader. And as we were laughing, as we started, realized part of what it takes is to be able to just roll with the punches and just deal with it. So I'm a hot mess today. Welcome to Redefining Entrepreneurship. So excited to dig in with you.
Yeah. Welcome to a normal day in entrepreneurship in most everyone's world. Hot mess. Yeah,
That's
no, this
okay.
this has been a topic I think that we've kind of touched on a lot here lately, but we kind of wanted to have a dedicated conversation. So we talked a little bit last week, and I'm really excited Jamie's here to kind of chime in, kind of build off of last week. So this is specifically kind of how do you navigate and lead with power and be a seven-figure earner. So there's lots of different stages in entrepreneurship, and a lot of it has to do with there's business stages and then there's you stages as the CEO, and they can be interesting to navigate. They can slap you upside the head. They can, you never know what's coming. You may be very aware and compare and can prepare, and then some that you may not be aware of. I think the big key for that is to get to seven figures and then seven figures and beyond is being open to proactively developing yourself, getting to know yourself, and then being able to build your internal tools and have those around you that can support you to navigate the ones that you don't see coming.
Yes.
So that's kind of what we wanted to build on this week, and really specifically talk about those that are kind of high six, and then getting to that seven figure, like what it takes to really lead in that position.
Yes. Sorry. I'm distracted. I will fully, and I will say it takes someone or a team who can deal with that. So that'll be my number one. But yes, thank you so much for just bringing us all together here. So,
Yes. I'll continue to bring us together while you're distracted with chickens. Literally distracted with chickens. So I know we can all say we're running around like with a chicken with our head cut off. She's literally distracted by chickens.
it doesn't have its head cut off, though. I'm going to say that.
They're live chickens, but I mean, it's very cute. So I guess kind of what I wanted to say is kind of paving the way to seven figures. A lot of this is, there's a lot of business things that need to go into place. But the big change is as you're building and growing your business, you as the CEO and you as the leader determine the culture of your business. And to do that, you need to build your skills as a leader, not just a business owner. There's a big difference between just being a business owner and running your business, and then there's being the leader, and there's being the CEO. And there's a natural, what should be progression from solopreneur to doing it all yourself to learning to let go and having a team by your side that can handle people distracted by chickens, and Jamie who gets distracted by pet care. I get distracted by my hummingbird. It takes special people to support people like us. But having a team around you and having those that can support you in your journey is a little about letting go of control, learning to let go, but then also building up those around you more. Like it's setting them up for success. And that really involves you being extremely secure in yourself and where you are, and then dedicating a good portion of your time to building your team and those around you and creating the culture that actually is what becomes a big priority as you shift from 6 to 7 figures and then 7 figures and on up. Is the shift of your time is not as much in the doing, it's the leading. So I'll let others chime in because I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's a good time to kind of pass the baton, and the chickens have gone away. The garbage truck that was behind me has moved. Our power was out. So just getting a little bit adjusted here. But anyway, yeah, leading with power, that's really what it comes down to. It's not about the doing. It's not about having the right strategy. It is a bit about having the right people, but it's less about that even, I think. And it's more about who you're being versus what you're doing when you get to a certain level. And I think, we build ourselves up, you get to your first 5 figures, then your first 6 figures, and then your 7 figures. And at each stage, am I frozen? Hold on, I just realized.
You're not frozen.
Okay. Sorry, you guys are all frozen on my end. So, if that happens, just start talking over me. No worries. But I think, we at each level, there's something different. And as we're building, we're so focused on the doing, the getting there, that a lot of times they don't think, and I know this happened for me, so you ladies feel free to chime in for yourselves, but like I paid so much attention in the beginning to what I was doing and doing the right thing. I kind of skipped some, I think, fundamental steps. And it's not like I did the mindset work, and I even did some of like that leadership development and like energetic work, but not at the level necessary. But I didn't even know what was necessary for me until I got to a certain level. Until I started to feel really secure and like, okay, well, I have the systems, I have the strategy, but now what? And the thing is I came from a leadership background, so I looked at myself already as a leader when I came into my business. But I recognized the further I got in that for me, it was a completely different type of leadership from what it was leading in like that corporate space that I had been in and leading my team there versus leading my own team, leading my clients, and most importantly, leading myself. So that's just.
Yeah.
I love that. And I feel like this all comes back into, you both are talking about self-leadership, like the ability to lead self and lead a team. And I think that gets more and more important with the higher level that you reach, whether it be like the personal leadership development area or whether it be like the entrepreneurial journey. But the interesting thing for me about the entrepreneur, why can I not say that word, about the journey that we're all on is that, there is a lot of self-led requirement, like capacity requirement in this type of world that doesn't necessarily have to show up when you are working for somebody else, right? It's just a whole nother ball game. And one of the things that I work with my clients on around self-leadership with the human design stuff is where their motivation comes from. So like every person, every energetic being has a type of motivation, a motivating factor. It can be fear, hope, desire, need. These are specific energies that we hold, and we don't all hold the same ones. And so as you get deeper into like creating these huge, enormous goals that provide value on an immense level, which is what we're doing when we're hitting 7-figure businesses, your internal motivation, understanding how you make decisions, how you lead, and how you drive a team and reach your goals becomes more and more important, because that self-led piece is the piece. We don't have anybody else telling us, here's why you're motivated in this field. And I just think that is such a deeply impactful way to bring yourself to capacity for growth, is to just, we're talking about knowing yourself, but knowing your motivation, knowing how you respond. These things can help all the way along the levels, but become more and more important as we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, you guys hear me talk about this all the time here. I talk about this all the time everywhere else, but it's a big part of growing is determining also, there should be simultaneous work between learning yourself at a deeper level and then putting the right business strategies in. But so often we focus on all the business strategies. How do you know when there's an energetics problem versus a business issue? But as you're growing to 7 figures, hopefully you have done, like Lori mentioned, some of the energetic work and the mindset work and all of this. And I just want to warn you guys that sometimes you can do all of this, and Lori, I'll let you speak to it, and you're like, yes, I'm doing the work and I'm doing the energetics, and like at some point it may hit you that it's not enough, or there's different work that you need to do. When it's not a strategy issue, it's not you've got all the right pieces in the right place, but you aren't in the right place yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of your red flag and your sign that, yeah, there is some deeper work. And human design is a good tool to be able to go to those deeper levels. Like Jamie was talking about motivation, like I'm a one line, I'm a fear motivation in what I do, and kind of learning those different nuances really helps you determine what else you can tweak, what else you can put around you, how else you can communicate with those around you to uplift them, but then work, have them work in a way that works well with them, but then you work in a way that is in alignment for you. And it sounds like a lot of woo-woo, and it sounds like a lot of great. I mean, I work in how I want to work. You would be surprised at the tiny little nuanced details that you can pick out. Like, I'll give an example. I'm not sure that this fully lends towards leadership, but for me to be in the best space, for me to be like fully in it and not distracted. So my conception, and Jamie, I'll let you talk about a little bit more of the details of this if you want to, but my conception is outer vision. It's kind of that, for me, how that comes out is everything has to look, this sounds like a perfectionist, but everything has to look perfect for me. Doesn't have to look perfect for anybody else. I could care less what anyone else thinks. But it has to be all in its place. Everything might mimic OCD to some people, but everything has to look in place and look in alignment and like feel good for me to be in my zone. Mm. Otherwise, I'm very distracted. I will get very distracted about reorganizing a tiny little corner or searching for the perfect thing to hang on the wall to put in this like little empty space because it's bothering me. Like but it'll distract me from doing what it is that I should be doing in the moment. Mm. That sounds weird. And now I have done true confessions in public of my OCD and everything, but it's the tiny little details that when you learn this, I'm like, oh, that's why I will take, 3 hours to search for like the perfect picture. And it can't just be any old thing. It's got to be this or an organizer or I'm very particular. And my friends that help me decorate my house, I drive bonkers, but I'm very particular, and I could care less what anyone else thinks. Like, it's not about I have to have a showcase. Like, I could care less about whatever, but it's got to be like right in line. If it's not, I'll go shopping, I'll be organizing, I'll be doing everything else. But so it's really getting in tune to step from 6 to 7 figure. It's really getting in tune to like those little tiny nuanced details that make huge differences.
So I'd love to jump on that example because I feel like you just said something so like powerful that maybe this will translate to the audience. But so you're a fear motivation, right? And fear motivation is all about digging in, getting to the depth and finding the solution and having things like right, and your outer vision. And so you need to experience that, right? Now, what's really interesting is motivation can be tricky for a lot of people. And we often, when we're in like conditioned thinking and when we're getting all tripped up, we can kind of like get mixed up on which motivation we're in. So for somebody with a fear motivation, typically you could get mixed up and be in what's called a need motivation. And that would be a completely different energy where you're really about getting everything out on the table to try to find a solution with others or to deliver that information rather than you doing the diligence of having it set, looking correct. Now, if you were following that second piece, there may be a lot more frustration for you because you know how to have things correct and set, but that fear motivation can be scary. So the aversion to fear makes us go away from it. So when we are 7-figure earners, knowing that you are motivated by having everything set and not by somebody like me, desire, which is take a little here, take a little there, do this, do that, do all that for the little tidbits of stuff that help develop the need, like the knowing for the need. But if I'm scared to ask for what I desire, then I'm not following my motivation either. And I'm not able to create that team. So this stuff gets really important when we know it or not, but it's even more important to go, oh, wait a minute, this is my natural way. I'm okay that sometimes it looks OCD because this freaking works for me and my clients and my team. I'm okay that I desire because this works. When I ask for what I want, holy crap, the world opens up. And so we all have that.
Well, and I love that you brought up, and not to go too deep into this, but like that transference, like being pulled into a different motivation. We can kind of be inclined to go into our opposite motivation. And if I'm not mistaken, Lori, you are my opposite motivation. Yep. So it's interesting. The more you can kind of tune into that and know the difference and how that shows up for you, you can identify when you're being pulled into that motivation and when it's kind of out of alignment. Now, we're all susceptible to being pulled in, and 9 times out of 10, we are in transference. But the more you can get in touch with it and in line with it, you start to be more conscious of you, start to be more conscious of your actions. You start to be more conscious of what your action, the impact your actions have on others. And no matter what tools you use, no matter what development courses you go through and exercises and all of that, it's all going to help. I just happen to use human design with my team as well. And so it's not unusual. I will have their chart up in front of me when I'm on a call with them. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why they're saying that. Oh yeah, that's right. Like it's that reminder. I need to be able to support them where they are and then still be true to myself. But as a result, I've set my team up. They do exactly what they're designed to do, and that's all they do. And they're super, super happy about it. They might not be happy about babysitting me at times, and my OCD, but that's okay. I think they get more of a kick out of it, telling me what to do, than anything else. But it's really just being able to not only knowing yourself, but then I would encourage anyone, even if you're still in 6 figures, start now. Don't wait till you get to 7 figures. Like this is really should be a journey all the way up and not really waiting until you arrive or get there. But once you start bringing a team on, whether they're W-2, 1099, whatever, I see so often people recreate the environment that they escaped from in corporate. I don't think you recreated it, Lori, but it's you a lot of people are escaping corporate because like, I don't want to be treated like a number. I don't want to just have stuff dumped on me, and it's really not my favorite thing to do, and I really don't like doing that. And it's like, but I like doing this part, but I don't like doing that. And my manager doesn't ever listen to me, and there's all these kinds of issues, and things could work better this way, but nobody wants to hear me. They don't feel valued. They don't feel respected. Well, what happens when we start to grow? And then we can get a little frantic and we go through these growth spurts and you're like barely hanging on for dear life. You feel like you're doing good if you can do some work on yourself. but the focus has to actually not be on you at certain times. Like you need to like be able to be there and set up the culture for your team. You don't want your team to feel exactly like you did in corporate. And I see it all too often because we don't shift quick enough from doing it all to embracing having a team that supports us doing it all. And then at least half of our time is self-development and team development and being there for our team. So I'll stop talking.
That's why I'm gonna talk now, because I sent a message here to these ladies, but there's been a jackhammer going for the last several minutes. So I'm just like, I don't know if Restream blocks out background noise, so I'm like afraid I can hear them. They're gonna probably start again. So I might not get much talking in, but yeah, I agree with everything that you said. But I also want to like just add in the component when we're talking about leadership. It's not only about the team, because whether you're making 6 figures, 7 figures, doesn't matter. You may or may not have a team. Like I know 7-figure earners who literally have just hired their team for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
But you are leading yourself, but you're also leading your clients, your potential clients. It's how you show up in your content, your messaging. It's how you show up in a networking event. It's how you show up in your marriage. It's how you show up in your life, not just how you lead your team. And like that's like, honestly, I feel like one of the smallest things, because you're going to be able to be a good leader in your team if you do that other work first. So I think it's important too to talk about, not just like, what do you need to do from that team perspective, like who you actually need to be in all areas of your life to actually be a successful leader. Because, and the difference too, and I just want to add, like you can be a 7-figure earner without being a 7-figure leader, but you can be a 7-figure leader without having any team member too. The leader, I mean, if you have an audience, right? You want people to look at you. You want to be looked at as that authority. You want to be seen a certain way. But if you aren't doing that inner work that, to really become a strong leader, can you guys hear that?
A little bit, but you're saying good words, so say it.
Keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. But I think it's really important to just recognize that it starts with you before you can do any of this. And you were already talking about that, in the human design aspect. But like, if you haven't done that work going into the team and talking about recreating the corporate, I did do that at first. Before you met me, that is exactly what happened. And I didn't want that at all. Like, and I actually like recently revisited like the whole, like my why and what I really wanted in the first place. It was the flexibility and not having people telling me what to do and, these things, and not having to like be so strict. And don't get me wrong, I had some amazing team members, but I think back to one in particular, and she's very like, she's a project manager, and it's not me because I also do project management stuff, but and it's like, okay, we need to have these KPIs and these deliverables and this and that, and it's just, what the fuck? No. But I did it at first. I'm like, that's what I have to do because that's what she's telling me I need to do. But it just felt so off. So part of that self-leadership and becoming a strong leader is knowing what actually feels right for you and not doing it just because you did it before or just because you're whoever on the internet says it's okay, or even if your own mentor says that's what you need to do. If you're not aligned with that and you don't push back, you are not being in integrity. You're not having high standards for yourself, for your business, and you are not being that true leader. And because of that, you're going to actually you're going to know that energetically too, and you're going to block that next level from really happening. So that is why this work is so important. And I know I've gone through this, before myself, where I've done all of the things, and it came to a point where it's just like, what else do I need to do? And I did the mindset work. I thought I did the work, but I'm literally like, even now I go back to things that I was looking at or doing like 2 years ago, that I see it and it lands in a completely different way because I thought I got it back then, but I truly didn't get it. So I'm going to go back on mute now because that jackhammer is fierce right now.
Yeah, no, to your point, Lori, yes, it is, just on the business side, it is really being a leader for your team, but also for your clients. But it's being a true leader is being a leader in life. It's not just being this one person when you show up to work, right? Whether it's with your clients or with it's being that person, like it, but it is you. You embody being a leader. You embody being this person that people are going to follow and they're going to look up to, and that they either want to work for or work with. It's if you think about who you consider to be a leader, like if you all just sat there and looked at who do you look up to as a leader? Who would you consider a true leader? What do they do? What do they say? How do they treat those around you or around them? How do they show up in the world? How do they show up in their personal life, if you feel like there's accurate information out there about that, especially if they're celebrity leaders? How do they show up everywhere? It's because they have done a lot of work. They're very comfortable with who they are in a lot of ways. They have figured out who they are, what they do, how they do what they do best. They've committed to surrounding themselves with the right things to be able to show up as the person and the leader that they need to be. And that's the difference. There's those of us that fight it. I don't have time for this. I don't have this is, there's every excuse under the sun. And then there's leaders that there's no excuse. That becomes a priority for them. That becomes the work that they know they have to do on a regular basis, not just one and done. Hey, I took a leadership course. I am good. I'm a leader now, right? It's a constant, how can we up-level ourselves? How can we become a better person? How can we become a better leader? It's a constant process.
And I think actually you can really skip over a lot of that through six figures. Like you can get away with a lot going up into the six figures. But when you're talking hitting that 7-figure mark, there's a lot less you can get away with in your internal world. And so why not just do the work now instead of getting away with it now and then get into this massive, incredible, what feels like success in an external way, but feels like insanity boiling point on the inside, and then start to do it. So it's like, it's not that you can't really lead in a pretty successful way for quite a while without having a truly deep foundation inside, right? But when we're talking making these shifts, these significant shifts, it is a whole different ballgame of energy on the inside to put it out. And so I just think it's really important that you recognize that like, you can do it a whole bunch of ways, but oh my God, how cool would it be to be prepared to embody 7 figures when it's ready to come? Like when the world is going, yep, your turn. You did it.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I mean, that is really, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lori.
Oh no, you go ahead. I was also just going to point out, apparently I had the event wrong in Facebook. Hopefully the email went out at the right time for the reminder. So my apologies, Sonia, if you were watching. Yes, I said it from the plane and my computer was still in the wrong time zone. So oops.
Nice. That's
so for those that are watching this later, apologies.
No, that's all right. It's no, I think that's a pretty good place to kind of sum this up. I mean, there's so many subtopics we can go into to how to be a 7-figure earner, but that's kind of that's the place you need to start. Commit to learning about you, commit to doing the work to learn about you, and commit to doing the work to learn how to support those around you and really lift them up. The sign of a true leader is those that lift them up. The sign of just a boss are those that put others down. So be a leader. Don't be just a boss.
Oh, I could go into so much on that, but luckily the jackhammer just started again, so I won't. But we'll save that for a future episode. But also just want to say, like, if there's anything too that you want us to talk about on future episodes, let us know, either in the comments here. Let us know too if you're watching the replay. But we'll talk about just about anything when it comes to entrepreneurship, because we are all very much wanting to redefine what it looks like and making it so that it's easy for you to lead with power, for you to do it your way, and to make that simple, easy, effortless, and so that you can go into that next level quickly and easily. So almost so I'll let someone else close out here. Sorry about the noise.
But yeah, no, anything you want us to talk about, please let us know. We can all go from any subject in business strategy and what you do in business to self-development, self-leadership, and everything in between. We really are about redefining entrepreneurship. It does not have to be hustle mode. It does not have to be how everyone else does it. It truly is how you need to do it based on you, your vision, how you work, what you want to do, and you don't have to follow what everyone else does. And we're here to kind of guide you and give you the tools in that effort. So with that, I will say thank you all for joining us, those that joined us live, those that joined us later. Hopefully you guys get some good nuggets of information from this. And we will be back here, I think on June 18th is our next live. And we're going to dive a little bit more into self-care, I believe, like why it's essential, how to do it the right way. So we're going to kind of go a little bit deeper into this subject, no matter where you are. If you're earlier in your journey, whether you are closer to 7 figures or into 7 figures, let's dive a little deeper into self-care. Like, what are some tools you can do? How do you go about it? And we're here to answer all those questions. So thank you guys for joining us today. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys will come back and join us next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.